for this crisp and precise introduction to the subject and myself. I'm thankful to all the admins and organizers for this novel trilogy of web talks as a part of celebration of our 58th Foundation Day of our medical college. And just it will be too ironic to say thanks to Corona, because it is the one virus which has brought us all together on this particular virtual platform. We need to keep away from the Corona, of course, but then there is a one small section of people across the world, the crazy people, lock collectors, who will like to bring this Corona home. Of course, it's a Corona lock, and for a change, it's not from China, but it's made in Japan in 1950s. Same way, we have passed through very painful and panicky stage of lockdown. Still, that fear and frustration is not over. But we need to stick to the and cling to the life with all the care. And like this small tender vegetation, we have to pass through this rusty and crusty patch of 2020, and then I think we can just manage to go ahead with this. Yes, our MMC is now called GMC, and on this occasion today, let me express the gratitude to this our alma mater by just going down to this our medical college. I was there from 1975 up to 83. My 4.5 or 5 years of undergraduates they were there in this particular premises. And while talking, these memories are flooding in my mind. At the same time, I feel charged, absolutely thrilled and excited to see so many familiar faces, so many loved ones, and talking to you all, of course, virtually, but then I feel really thrilled now. Of course, let me first pay respect to my teachers and seniors. Yes, Dr. Karmakar sir, I'm so happy to see him there. All these other teachers like Khare sir, and then so too Dr. Thomas sir is there, Dr. Takrani sir is there. They're all during our undergraduate and postgraduate days. You may identify Dr. Hegiste, Inamdar, and late Katti madam. I met them during our 2012 Golden Jubilee function. I'm happy that I can just at least virtually pay the respect to these my beloved teachers. But then there are some of them who I could not find their photos. With the flow of time, their faces and names have been blurred. But all these teachers, sir, I owe you all my career and what I'm today to you, sirs. And you not just taught us subject and science of the anatomy, I mean medicine, but then you laid foundation. You taught us Hippocrates' oath. You've given us lessons of life. And like this particular wisdom quote, what we have seen on the first day of our college in anatomy hall, hanging on this particular walls, where this kind of teachings, we are, able to be a good doctor in addition. Friends, today is a National Friendship Day. Every year we celebrate first Sunday of August as a Friendship Day, and I'm really proud Platinamer having such a beautiful, cohesive and well-knit group of our friends from the 75 batch. Of course, we keep on meeting during such get-togethers, and of course, every day virtually now, as if our classes are held, we all attend, just have all this fun and frolic, masti and maja of the yesteryears. Even some chronic absentees now are paying a very regular attendance there. Of course, having stayed in the college and hostels, I'm having many friends beyond this particular batch. Say, for example, a representative of 1974, Dr. S.V. Kulkarni, as he said, I know him from day one, that I use his clinical notes all throughout my career. And as we are joking that my record break marks in the final MBS in medicine, few marks belong to him and his notes. So thank you, SV, for putting tremendous efforts in bringing we all together and creating this platform to express our thoughts and views. Same way, the other friends from 1974 batch, this gang, They have been always my guide, friends, and philosophers. Same way, Dr. Neelam, like my elder sister, she was my registrar, and Dr. Mukund Kulkarni, he was my buddy during my PG days. Our legacy was continued by Dr. Vanara Sekiran. He was of 76 batch. Likewise, all this is not possible to name, but then list is too long, or at the most I can say is thank you, friends. You really added spice in our life in college in those years. So friends, let's unlock the topic and start for the further proceedings. And for that, let me take you to my childhood when I was 10 years old and when I got hooked to my first serious hobby of stamps collection. This philately of stamps and first day covers making pen friends across the world, these stamps were my windows to the world. And as if riding on these wings of first day covers, I was trying to visualize and meet people and places across the different destinations. And as if at that time only my future travel bug was conceived. This particular hobby of philately taught me the basic lessons of collecting, classifying, and cataloging, which was to come handy in my future as a passionate collector of different utility objects. Yes, during that year, my family moved from Ahmedabad to Karar. My father was initially in pharmacy college. He was to become the first principal of the first government medical, first pharmacy college. First pharmacy college of Karar. He had taken at that time a very bold decision, rather challenge and faith. He was shown in us that we started learning Marathi. In our 6th standard, we are put in this particular vernacular language school and not proving him wrong. We also could take that challenge and then came out with some real flying colors, had this kind of laurels of SSC board ranks. I was lucky to have some great teachers and mentors. There was a dilemma of 2 months when I went to IIT and returned back to join my pre-medicine, came to Medical College of Miraj, lucky to have some good kind of recognition medals and accolades like this best outgoing students, seniors ranks, and even recognition in certain sports and art exhibits. So I was lucky to have all this very happening career or our time during medical college at Miraj. I came to Ahmedabad with all this, but almost empty pocket in 1984. To establish there, I was literally underdog. But I started with a very small, modest 6 beds nursing home there. I applied myself, and within a due time, I could establish myself and go for 30-bedded children hospital, Shaisha Children Hospital with Neonatal Center. Now I was a successful pediatrician, but I realized that I was spending almost whole my day, whole my time, active hours in managing and running this my practice. I started asking myself, what about my dreams if I cannot move out of this particular premises? So my wife and I had very serious discussions. We decided to restructure our practice, redesign our working hours. And as Robert Foster said, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. Literally at the juncture when we're about to expand, go for a big hospital, we rather decided other way around to scale down our working hours. We chose that less traveled path, unconventional one, but that made all the difference, friends. And that's probably the reason I'm here in front of you talking on subject, something which is beyond medicine. Yes, from philately, this dream, my doctors started. And then this very suggestive picture of multiple tracks shows our journeys in multiple directions to the different places of the world and in country. At present, when we are confined, these pictures prove nostalgic, and that way also this is a nostalgic memory for me. For this particular picture, fetched me my first international prize by Lonely Planet in a travel category few years back. This was the one which I had clicked from a moving train in a train station of Fairbanks in Alaska. Likewise, our journey continued, of course. Who doesn't travel these days? Rather, doctors travel more. But I call myself not traveler, but an explorer. In initial years, with tight budgets, hostel stays or home stays, taking public transports or local buses and trains passes, we used to see the world. Almost 6 weeks we are taking out from our every year practice, away from the work, and we were just fulfilling our childhood dream of seeing the world. Of course, that was a great kind of a satisfaction, and of course, a sort of a deja vu feeling, as if walking in this small lanes of Chester in UK, I could see, recollect those stamps in my albums which I collected in childhood. At that time, I hardly known what is the meaning of these keys which are on the stamps. For example, Helvetia means Switzerland. But then in Central Europe, on the churches and cathedrals, what we could see were these keys. Later learned there that these are the keys in the hands of Saint Peter, who opens or controls the doors of heaven. Of course, these keys were to open different kind of locks in the future, who had known at that time. But then it was, of course, education for us, even to my family. And especially, most important thing was that we could give undivided time, quality time to our children, especially during their young days, school days, during their formative years. And especially when these three children, when they're away to far off destinations, they are all in USA. These travel experiences, these kind of memoirs of albums and photographs, they're one of the best treasures what they are, holding just now. Let me introduce these children. My daughter, she's the elder one at present. After having completed her clinical, endocrinology at Pittsburgh, just now she has joined as associate professor in University of Massachusetts. Her younger brother sitting next to her is Shanil, and he is doing his internal medicine second year there again in Boston. While one who is working is his twin brother. He is an engineer, did his master's there in UT Dallas, and now he's working in South California. So all these three children, when they're away from home, I think these memories of travel, I think they're the most soothing and rejuvenating for them. Of course, during travel, I could make so many friends that they also help to enrich our travel experiences. And also I could sharpen or enhance my hobbies and take them to the different levels because of these friends from different parts of the world. Most important thing of this travel was photography. It gave me ample opportunity to sharpen my skills in travel photography. I could establish as a kind of a serious photographer, establish as a street photographer or travel photographer, because I was not getting chance or time to do photography here when I was working in my hometown. So travel in this way made a lot of impact in my life and my different hobbies. Of course, our journey continued even after returning back home. We used to make albums of these kinds. It was a combined family efforts by children and we all. And then, as this is in Gujarati, but it says that there are some few years back when it says that 40 countries and 200 thematic hardbound albums, what we have created in those years. Of course, last few years, we are just creating soft copies or albums on the cloud. Again, there are almost of equal number of 200 plus albums of these later years. Even making scrapbooks with the mementos and then different materials was a great fun, combined family affair. Same way, I started writing blogs, sharing with the friends, with this different kind of, there's the title for our 25th hour only. Of course, I could share with the community in the form of making this kind of public displays and holding of the exhibitions. Say, for example, this was the last one or before that of, say, Minglawa, Myanmar. That's about the experience of Burmese. It's a Burmese word. Minglawa means how are you? So it's about a travel experience and photography of my travel to Burma. Gradually, I started contributing in columns, regularly running in the local newspapers and tabloids in the form of these anecdotes and then experiences and suggestions for the people in the community. Gradually, I was even invited to write for magazines of national and international repute and about this particular travel stories like this, or say like a Twist with Bliss, a Bhutan experience. I could write in these different magazines and share our travel experiences. Gradually, this media started taking notice. This is about the one article I just could take out for the very single reason that it's about the breastfeeding. And then 2nd August today, 1st to 7th August, we pediatricians, we celebrate, the world across, we celebrate breastfeeding week. But in my hospital, we are having almost 50 plaques and plates and figurines, with which we celebrate this breastfeeding week. Rather, we educate young mothers with this kind of figurines and then paintings or photographs, and just tell them or educate them about the importance of breastfeeding, the very purpose of this breastfeeding week. So these are some of the images from my hospital. But it's beyond something about my medicine. Gradually, media started taking notice because of our different ongoing activities, and they came with this such kind of titles to create the stories. Still now we are searching for the titles to write in the magazines and the newspapers. Now we were becoming the titles of these particular articles, like during off hours, beyond stethoscope, and there came this 25th hour. So this were the kind of this was a time when this particular term was coined. And during one of the medical conferences at this iconic building of IIM Ahmedabad, I had a chance to organize this kind of photo exhibition where I use almost 80 feet long panel, some 100 pictures and 12 stanzas to again portray the theme of 25th hour. So friends, let me start today where I ended on that day, which says, a doctor's life can be summed up in just few words: patients and hospitals, diseases and medications, injections and injections, deliveries and operations. Well, these are all part of our 24 hours routine. I hope you all agree that this is the 24 hours how we pass as a commitment to our profession. It is the 25th that is our special hour. This hour may prove even remedial to this frantically running medico in us who is busy all 24 hours. And it may come as a rescue when we are entrapped in this lockdown during this last 4 months of COVID. I have this big plaque of 25th hour at my home also. So friends and teachers, let me take you on a long pictorial tour of this 25th hour. Main aim is to share these stories and the theme of 25th hour. But I call it my sinful journey. And this sinful journey for the very simple reason that there will be a lot of I, me, and mine. There will be an air of self-aggrandization, as if I'm blowing my own trumpet. But please bear with that, because there is another aim in this is to nurture this particular concept, especially for the younger generation amongst us, to whom I can convince that if somebody coming from a small town, having a modest background, can achieve this kind of different pleasures and activities in life, why not anybody else can do that? Of course, it's the inspiration is a double way. Your pat on my back is a great inspiration for me to go ahead in this particular direction. Same way, I'll be happy if somebody gets, convinced about this 25th hour concept and try to assimilate that in their lives. This particular term was coined, rather this concept, it was conceptualized some 15 years back. Me and my wife, Namita, had initially started with that. Namita, many of you know, she's a gynecologist, and present she's working at as a senior consultant in Zydus Hospitals at Ahmedabad. Of course, she is the equal partner in my all the crimes what I'll be narrating. Rather, she is a bigger conspirator in many of these areas. But what she's doing, showing with these two hands is 2 and 5, that's 25th hour. But we took this particular concept of 25th hour beyond our family to our fraternity initially and now to the community. So it's been rightly said that hour is incomplete without you all. So when I talk our, it's not I and me and mine, it's all we will be talking about this, how we can go for this 25th hour together. But for time being, just let's see what's the 25th hour. As you all know, it's a hypothetical entity, non-reality. But still I try to attach or denote this term to that time and state of mind, that time when we are engaged in the activities of our interest, when we are pursuing our hobbies and passion, that time when the state of mind gets filled with joy, bliss, and happiness. So friends, in short, I try to equate passion with hobbies, passion with the activities of our interest or our likings. We all know passion cannot be quantified nor can be assessed on the scale of 10 or 10. Still, there will be my humble attempt to try to bring to your notice the values of hobbies and passion in our life. So for that, I'll be borrowing that number 10 from our little master blaster, Tendulkar, with his name and even number. As I started with my age 10, again, I'll be sharing with some 10 activities, selected one from my life, which made great impact. Same time, I'll try to prescribe some or propose some 10 hobbies, which is possible for all we doctors who are having, shortage of time. We are always on the run. We cannot take out a very selected or a chunk of time during our specific way. But then even we can prevent those 10 plugs, which are the, 10 time leakings, and provide some plugs which will give us extra time in our day to pursue hobbies or activities of our interest. So beyond philately, beyond dog tours, then some albums and scrapbooks and photography. What this you see on the screen is a very diverse cluster. But as we go ahead, you'll find that how interestingly these all activities are interlinked with each other. So as we just talk about with our activities, basically it was more of the perception of the people and the media, and they initially start taking notice of this particular, our home. This is the first article which came in 2006 in India Today as a home like no other. Of course, we have started building our house in 1995. It took 4 years, but it was built on a very different way, very different kind of a theme, where we have collected old artifacts and structural elements of yesteryears from the nearby places, even far off destinations. For example, what you're seeing on the screen is a part of the 22-feet Jharokha, which is from the border of Andhra and Maharashtra, while the colorful window is from the Shekhawati of Rajasthan. Likewise, we first brought them together here in the house, erected them, walls were built around them, and gradually home took its shape. So that theme was continued as Heritage Reborn. We tried to give new lease of life. We tried to preserve and conserve our heritage by installing these particular different structures. Of course, when the house is a fusion of tradition, there are almost a traditional house it looks, but then it is not having any kind of a lacking of any comforts of modern technology and modern life. Of course, the first front facade is of the 1920s British colonial house, but inside we have got a bigger canvas where we could just fulfill our passion and try to display or showcase or just enjoy different kind of this particular utility objects, which we both, Namit and I, love to collect over the years. Somebody's trash is our treasures. We are the collectors of the old utility objects, and then we try to bring them home, give a sizable space, and then just, with the new life, they start breathing with us. So say, for example, this particular turquoise blue pottery, which is in our dining area, which is the most favorite of Namita. This is one of the 25 different collections. Every room has a different theme in the house, and they have been allotted very different way. Another area which Namita controls is this small patch of garden. Of course, we are lucky to have now this can be expanded to the bigger and the adjoining plot. And what you are seeing, this wall has been knocked down just now to absorb that next door land. But then all these are the testimony of our rich heritage and culture, and then old utility objects and are part of the structural elements of the old houses. Say for this drawing or living room is having bukkas of older times. These are the bases. Again, they are from the metal of different types, terracotta, glass, the Persian, Afghani, Peshawari, from Kutch and different parts of India. And then there's a decoration theme for this particular living room. Has been a collector's house eccentricities percolate everywhere. We could not spare our bedrooms or even bathrooms, where this particular one is having a very unique Jaipur pottery of the yellow and green color. Same way, this our kitchen pantry is also cluttered with the Holland pottery and the different types of vessels used during cooking and serving. Surely it was not a conventional house. But then it was giving an air of museum, but then you'll agree it's not a standard museum. Of course, nobody stays in the house, but then we claim that, jokingly, that we are not staying in a house, we are staying rather in a museum, and apparently it looks like a house. But then with this tongue-in-cheek, our narration, we really gave a shape to this title of museum, which was we are ridiculed by our friends, and we added these 4 strokes to this particular word, and the new cryptic calligraphic formation came, which now reads as housing. So of course, it's a combination of these 2 words, amalgamation of house and museum. But more than that, if you just see, it's more of a cryptic calligraphy. Now we call this home as housing. And the collection, as I say, some 10,000 artifacts what we have collected. They are spread over some 4 levels of some 10,000 square feet, and literally it makes a home or house museum. As I'm sharing this with my friends from my college, many may recollect that I was a fan or other. I have done a lot of artwork of Ganesh during my even college days.
लहानपण माझं महाराष्ट्रात गेलं. वयाच्या 10व्या वर्षापासून आम्ही कराडला होतो. नंतर सांगली मेजेला माझं मेडिकलचं एज्युकेशन झालं. तोपर्यंत प्रत्येक वर्षी गणपती उत्सवात भाग घ्यायचो. इथाल्यानंतर हे घर बनवताना असं एक प्रयत्न केला की घरात कुठे उभं राहिलं, कुठल्याही कानाकोपऱ्यात तर कुठल्या तरी प्रकारच्या गणपती दर्शन होईल.
Was I audible? I mean, was that audio?
Yes, it was very nice.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you. So that was what you saw was a bedroom, which is housing almost many, Ganesh figurines. But there are many articles coming about our collections of Ganesh during various, especially festival time, which says that there are more than 500 Ganesh figurines of different types. And again, I always say, for me, Ganesh Utsav is around the year, and there are Ganesh in the different forms, different frames and figurines of different plaques, panels, porcelains, plates, different pots and whatnot. So all these are the different Ganesh in the various forms, and they have different stories also with them. For example, this is a lock, which is having Ganesh lock on it. And surprisingly, you'll find, astonished to know that this particular Ganesh lock is probably first of its kind of our example of outsourcing, where British India company, they have outsourced to make this lock for we Indians before 1920, because it was made by Russell and Edward Company of Connecticut, USA. This is a typical pancake lock there. So this lock was made 100 years back. Of course, one of the most sought after story lock at present, but then Ganesha is ubiquitous everywhere, even on my locks. But then more than that, people and media, they took more interest in our this particular triad of locks, clocks, and peacocks. They rhyme well, of course, but then they had reason why they are in so plenty at our house here. When we built the house, it was having a bland look, earthy kind of a feeling with old antiquated, with old patina of old wood structure, elements of doors, windows, jarocas. So we thought to give some color and I mean kind of a life to the this particular building. We employed this old color glass windows. What you are seeing, we gradually realize that they quite mimic with the colors of feathers of peacock. That way also, there are many peacocks in our surrounding, few peacocks, they are nest on our adjoining tall tree next door. They keep coming and going. But then more than these live peacocks, we are having almost more than 400 peacocks. It's a coffee book table on this particular, coffee table book on this particular peacocks. This particular is one of the mother of pearl peacock figurine. Same way, you'll find different utility objects of again yesteryear's old antiquated or vintage items of say hookah or pan box or some kind of canter, surai, leads, or some purse with having embroidery of leather on this particular peacock shape, even wooden plaques having this particular peacock motifs, and so endless this subject. Peacocks you'll find at every nook and corner of house. Clocks, I think when somebody enters the house, in the vestibule or right in the foyer, entrance foyer, one will notice this particular clock which moves in the anti-clock direction and which literally takes one back in time. As you see, it's moving in the anti-clockwise direction, and it's a very unusual way. One still can make out time if one just manage to look its mirror image. I'm trying to just take you while this, you can perceive this ventilator of these doors here, and then again on this particular doors with this beautiful Belgian and Venetian glasses with the lead bindings. And here comes that another old mirror where you can see exactly the time which is seen in this particular clock is 9:30. So like that, there are, the clocks are many of the different makes, mechanisms and movements from the different era, right from Japan to Germany and USA, UK, where 4 countries which they were manufacture of the clocks in last century. And then there are many funky or quirky clocks you'll find. For example, this particular puppy having this roving or rotating eyeballs, which are actually hands of hour and minute. So again, clocks with the different historical backgrounds, different mementos, different timings. For example, 365 days chiming clock or a 7-day key clock. Likewise, you'll find many clocks from the different parts of the world, and they are the best symbols of, worshipping the time, or rather you can say it's a kind of a symbol of our 25th hour. Of course, what I'm more for is about the locks. They are parked mainly in my basement, and now they'll be taken in a bigger space in the adjoining plot. But till then, what you are seeing, you'll be seeing these images will be of the older displays. The commonest question I encounter: why I collect clocks? What fascinates me? I don't know, but then being from the medical background, people are really curious to know, and I just may have probably some event of engineering or some that days of IIT of 2 months or whatever. But I was hooked to puzzles since childhood, and I see locks as my extension of love of childhood puzzles in this particular locks. Yes, about the locks, what you're seeing on the particular screen. Of course, this locks put me in the Limca Book of Records. More important than that was that this collection put India on a very prominent way on the world map. And then this kind of write-ups by the visitors coming to this particular place spread the news about this collection. And I was invited to 2003 to this European Lock Collectors Meet for the first ever time. Some non-white person was the participant there. And there, that opportunity to give a talk on this life in locks based on our philosophy, it really created buzz even their local media. And literally, this particular doll, you can see with folded hands as if she's wishing us namaskar. So likewise, life in locks can be perceived. This particular doll is also a part of my title of my collection, which I call Docs Locks. Of course, what you're seeing are different. I name my locks as we have got a little late, rather quite late because of this technological issues. I'll be rushing through a little faster, but then I call this particular lock as my doctor's lock or surgeon lock, where we need to open this lock. We need to have 5 steps or 5 surgeons to enter into the picture. To take out this particular curve, we need to have gynecologists, and then endoscopists just work through the belly, and then orthopedic surgeon will take out the extension of spine in the form of tail, and then this lock opens. So likewise, I just love to talk about these locks to different kind of people, students especially, and even the far off places like this top on this top even in the back. This crusty metal objects of yesteryears, I was lucky to present one of the most ancient premium puzzles, and that invited a very different horde of people group from the different parts of the world. These are metagrobologists or people who love to solve puzzles, design puzzles, and also they are collecting puzzles. So they came to my place, and then I was invited to give a keynote lecture there in Australia in 2007, where just a new kind of Pandora's box opened for me, where I could see these kind of metal puzzles which were far beyond, far complex than even Rubik cube what we had known till then. So I got hooked to this new hobby, and of course I spoke there to the audience that every day we are trying to solve a biological puzzle in the form of children and patients by taking or moving these particular sequential steps of history and physical examinations and diagnosis. And then coming to a prescription, I also titled this my hobby as a dog's tricks. It gave me opportunity to take different routes, different destinations, and participate in various puzzle events and puzzle parties. Gradually, I started designing my own puzzles. And there is very interesting special event where we exchange our design puzzles with other hundreds of others. And then my puzzle, which has to be a new invention, has to be sufficiently complex and playful. Once approved, is been exchanged with others. So at the end of the day, I get almost hundreds of new puzzles, and that way we start even collecting puzzles. My children also, they got interested. They started accompanying me in these various particular puzzle parties at the different destinations. And then literally on that day in Paris, I can say I was a proud Indian standing on the podium addressing one of the most scholarly and elite group of scientists and puzzlists, and try to project wisdom and skills of our forefathers who had designed very complex puzzles or puzzling elements, structures, or kind of blocks also. I titled that particular, this particular topic as the top story enigmatic. So in this sense, it's a top floor or top story of our house where we have come with the new kind of a place which had enigma in attic, something mystery or puzzling part at the top floor, and literally this particular set of images which will be showing you this particular area. And then this title of enigmatic, I've purposefully made the spelling wrong by adding this particular extra T, which is a symbolic representation of mechanical puzzles. This is one of the very popular 4-piece T puzzle pentagram, it's called. I try to project or describe the best fusion of art and science with this our vintage elephant, metal elephant, which is in his belly housing a very complex physical structure inside. Likewise, house itself or this particular place itself was a kind of a celebration of aesthetics along with mathematics. We incorporate this Fibonacci spiral series, which are evident in many different kind of elements or structures like Hagia Sophia, what we are talking these days more in this particular news about the 6th century Istanbul's old church and mosque. From there to Eiffel Tower or even Taj Mahal, all they have these particular principles of Fibonacci series. Same way this golden ratio is incorporated in the architecture's favorite funda, and that we applied in our making of this podium of this enigmatic. Of course, it was a culmination of a craze of collection, our passion of presentation of our the various collectibles. There's definitely method in madness. Yes, one can say that it was rather than that, it was sheer madness. You can say even monkey business, where we have rather showcased many monkeys or put on that installation of monkeys, and I had even shared that my story of telltale signs of monkey tails with our group also. So these monkeys, that rightful place, this was a terrace which was a playground for these monkeys, have been now brought back here on this perching on the roofs. And likewise, I try to incorporate 10 tenets or principles or other subjects of this particular enigmatic and just share with the people across the world, which incorporates our basic principles of architecture, our traditional elements of different kind of furniture to the embellishments and then kind of showcasing. Same way, some spiritual also elements like this wheel of life is incorporated right in the center, having floor cobblestone elsewhere, and these particular old tiles rescued from the old Haveli. Even this new modern showcases blend well with this kind of this particular brackets, which are themselves a storyteller. Many examples of symbolisms and metaphora here. I try to just share with the people here. It's a example of a ritual canopy or chandaro, which is used during important auspicious functions or ceremonies. We put that square cloth at the hang in the air at the entrance. Same way, I found this a very celebrated painting of S.H. Raza, that is Saptaras, having very classical blend of this yellow, red, and having geometric patterns like Chandaro. Cryptic calligraphy is evident on many of the different artifacts. One may get chance to decipher that particular calligraphic challenge at different places. Same way, there are many examples of pieces or furniture having these hidden compartments, which are a need in the past where you need to stash or hide their valuables and important documents, and they open with very kind of a skillful maneuvering only. These vintage vessels considered as magical vessels in the past. They are having simple physical properties like siphons, water filling jugs, or these watering elephants, or even Vasudeva Pyala. So there are many examples of this baffling boxes and very intricate and challenging devices and having access inside. Same way, we heard the story of mythology in childhood. We had many examples of this particular storyteller or these different objects and paintings having a very interesting illusion. And challenge or ask what is that particular head is of a bull or elephant, is it wings or arrows. So these in the past also this kind of puzzling pictures were there to entertain, to challenge each other. Of course, there are many examples of curios or some kind of artifacts we do know in the present era what for they were used. Probably this may be the learning tools for the generation. This kind of different elements may house the puzzles, almost more than puzzles which we amassed during our this puzzling events that they are either stored in the cabinets and stashed in the drawers or displayed in the kind of this particular areas. We can take them out when somebody come and visit us. The reference books of them, and it can give and, this I create this story what I started these days, a series on the national days. I find these particular puzzles handy to write on this.
Then can you unmute all?
Sorry?
You have to unmute all because I am not in a position to unmute anybody. There are a lot of background noise.
Okay.
And people have got questions, lot of questions. Please go to participants and whoever are there, please unmute themselves. Avinash Patil, Chandrakant Gaikwad, Vijay Desai.
Okay, I done. So going ahead with this. This often take the title of enigmatic, which has I consider as a very classical method which skills and talent and wisdom of our forefathers to the world at the same time. Considering I am the only ever personally selected in this particular group of 100%. We meet once in a year at some destination, we change the venue and we discuss and solve these puzzles. It's kind of a medical conference. Subject of focus are mechanical puzzles. I take there initially. Addition of now looks still a little bigger and sorry, I muted all. Okay. Sorry. So riding on this particular euphoria, you can say, or success of this enigmatic, and then this particular museum, we just have embarked on our rather more ambitious at this stage in our 60s, early 60s, we are starting this new place. We have named it for time being as Houseum Next. It's taking shape, which may now house in a few of the older collections, and some reservoirs also will be there. It is taking shape, and even you can see the peacocks started coming there. That was a 1920s British colonial facade. This is still older, of 1880s central Gujarat, and then also a Jharokha from Maharashtra on the right side, what you're seeing. So this is having again a blend or an air of museum which can be seen from outside. Of course, the word was derived from this particular Ahmedabad Next. It's a very prestigious chronicle of Ahmedabad's history of last 600 years taken out by Times of India. And Fortunately, we have been portrayed there as a custodian of heritage of our city and even our nation, and to preserve it for the generations to come. Yes, I am a proud heritage and protagonist. I participate in various activities. We make our museum open for public viewing during special days, and especially during the World Heritage Week, which falls in month of November. And we try to give guided tour like this. We call a batch of 20-25 in the evening, make 2 batches. Namita and I give this tour in tandem, 2 hours each, and then almost 500 visitors can come in that particular week and visit our museum. We try to showcase this rich heritage or possessions of our forefathers. At the same time, we try to share stories of our passion with these people. They also share their experiences. And these groups are of the different kind and composition, right from the elderly senior citizens, even school children, or even architects, or historians, or museum people, even our colleagues from the medical profession or different professions. Even there was a visit by a blind man to a particular house here. So of course, we many times get a special batches from out of Ahmedabad, even abroad, and we arrange this kind of visits for them during in between the year at special occasion or time. Friends, probably I'm running a little faster because we have been delayed, but then you must have found this my presentation, which is having all exceptions of the norms of how one should have a kind of a presentation. You'll find it's for a pediatrician, it's acceptable. It's childishly colorful, rather it's garishly crammed, and there's so many slides. If you found that, please blame it to this art words, my love for this combining art and words, expressing these two through each other, and then create this particular composition. Of course, I always say that I am a very much doctor, full-time working, still 40 to 50 hours a week, 5 times a week I'm working, and I'm still running my Sesha Children's Hospital. Of course, I scaled down that to the lower number of beds, and then OPD hours are also restricted. This wow is less of exclamation and more of a set of questions. Every visitor or during these talks, everybody asks me, why should one, waste time, this important time which we are getting in such kind of a activity of hobbies which are not yielding any fruits. And if somebody wants how to find time, because we are so pressed with the time, we hardly get time for the family and friends, why to go for these pastimes? And suppose we are convinced, what can we do at this stage and age of life if some elderly is asking this question? If I take this first question, how to find time, it's a very simple, single one sentence answer. If you want time, you must make it. This extra hour is not served on a platter. We need to extract it literally from our daily schedule, almost like stealing it from our activities. It may come at the cost of personal comforts. Even we need to divide our duties of social responsibilities. It comes harsh on our financial balance sheets because we are wasting a lot of our professional time. And somebody crazy like me, one who right at the peak of the practice started scaling it down for this particular crazy kind of activities. So it may be one need to, bring down the professional aspirations too. If somebody wants to set the priorities in the life or sacrifice something and go for this micromanagement for finding that extra hour. All these years for medical doctor, it's a long years of study. We start working later on. If somebody is staying in a bigger or urban center, there's a lot of time wasted in the commuting also. Practice, it takes a lot of our toll and energy and time. Even we establish gradually, there is more time devoted to these all activities. Once our family starts and grows, again, we hardly get time in between. And then as we advance, there is social responsibility also. So all what we are seen as a glamour of the medical practice, that colorful rainbow of our future, we realize that it gets smeared like this in a kind of a clutter and kind of a various different colors being smeared in this particular day-to-day life. So how to get time amongst all these our responsibilities? Art is to pursue that particular white space in between. And that is the one which we need to identify and then consolidate that and channelize that particular consolidated time for some fruitful or creative activity. As we are talking about hobbies today, if we can just use that saved time for hobbies, that is nothing but a white space in our life. Of course, this is all for that one should be mentally prepared and focus to just know that there is a white space in everybody's life. These are the gaps in our daily calendar in between our precise working hours and other planned and unplanned activities. Of course, we need to have adapt in time management and multitasking. And in this particular area, our women partners, they are the best in multitasking. But then we generally, when we run our practice, we try to incorporate all this. But then for that, one should be consciously conditioning oneself to find time to these activities. This can be a full-time or full-day workshop for this, how to free time from our daily calendar. It may be a different kind of fundas for the different people of the different backgrounds. But just as a theme of day of 10, I'm just making just bullet points as we are running short of time again here. So I'm freeing more time for the other talks. So these are the few things which we all of us know, only we consciously, we should be aware that we have to optimize time on social media, we have to set right priorities, work right ahead in the plan, the work early, right in the early stage, then must not wait, waste time on the phones, we have to automate the things and try and learn to delegate or give authority to others. So these are a few points with which we can save a lot of time also. But why to do all this? Why should I or somebody should pursue you to pursue hobbies? Have there any value in your life except for this fun? Yeah, it's been said that go for things which make you happy, but right in the our active years of practice, do we need to have that kind of fun? Can we afford? Do they serve any function? Yeah, it's beyond fair. I believe that these hobbies serve a lot many other functions too. And I find it's one, hobbies as a area which keeps one fit. Of course, there is no shortcut to physical fitness with the daily regime of exercise of some 30 to 60 minutes as per the background and the age. But then these hobbies, they are like a meditative, they give kind of a spiritual experience or meditative kind of this mindset. So hobbies are important for this emotional, and more than that, they are there for the mental fitness. They energize one, and then they help to de-stress us. These hobbies, I mean, they're great stress busters, both during tiring stage and retiring age also. When we are young and active in our 30s and 40s, when we are running around, but then these are the times when there are maximum stress built up, and they invite the lifestyle problems. Gradually, they start coming in our life and creating the kind of diseases. These hobbies may be antidote to this particular lifestyle disease also. And in retiring age, we have plenty of time. There is a lot of negativity, vacuum, what to do. And especially the time when just slow and low time of this, say, COVID last 4 months, everybody was, kind of depressed, finding loneliness and having that kind of vacuum. So these hobbies were, they are the one which will help you to unwind and relax. So they are the great stress busters, and then there is no security in that it is all because of outcome of this complex chemistry in the brain, these neurochemicals and hormones. They are the one which are responsible for this kind of energy and kind of a sense of well-being. For me, hobbies, they have played an important role in friendship and fellowship. We all doctors, or say for that, all community, different professionals, they try to remain in their comfort zone with their own friends and then in their own group. But then that really constrict one's kind of time and kind of their sphere. So here, this kind of hobbies have given me ample opportunities to take them this to the different kind of people of the different spheres and different backgrounds, and which I could not imagine. Of course, we all are, knowing the people in our vicinity and surrounding, but then these hobbies gave me chance to mingle and mix with the people. Say, for example, somebody who was a close buddy of Steve Jobs and holding a senior post in Apple, somebody having this a Nobel Prize in mathematics. I could have lunch with him in London, or one of my most loved hobby of crosswords. I had a chance to meet this New York Times crossword editor. Same way, somebody I was not knowing, the lady was head of the space station of Russia. So these are people we get chance to meet because of our hobbies. And then hobbies, they give a fab feeling. Some may agree, may not agree in open, but that sense of appreciation by others always gives us a fabulous feeling. These hobbies are the great head turners. They label you as a multifaceted person or all-round personality, like Dr. Natakar sir yesterday told, like this Astpailu kind of a Vyaktimatva. We all doctors get, kind of a cake or recognition. We are being worshipped as demigods by our local community. But then these kind of hobbies, if you are lucky, you may be taken ahead in these spheres. I had really, euphoria to be recognized amongst 8 Ahmedabadis who took name of the city to the international levels by this popular Radio Mirchi. Same way, this another leading newspaper came out with 26 doctors across Gujarat who are having contributed greatly to the community. In this, our recognition also hobbies played an important role, probably. Same way, India Today's Travel Plus magazine, 2012, they came out with a list of 60 interesting people, things to do in India. So we were almost, on your, cloud 9 when we have been selected in this 60 interesting people and only couple in this particular group. You can get chance, say like this, to speak from a radio station of some, like a SBS of Australia, or been showcased in some serial of Southeast Asia and many other serials we have been portrayed. And then our joys knew no bound when I was being addressed as icon of Indian intelligence by this one of the most founder of the puzzle group from a podium of this Equated or kind of a this platform. Just a few days back, last 15th of July, I was surprised to know that this enigmatic was included in the top 14 puzzle museums in the world as a trending story in the last month. Of course, with telling that somebody smart person can use this hobby for money making, create some fortune, generate finance also. But then This is a question by many. If we decide and convince about pursuing hobbies, what to do then? I try to just take down from the internet and refer some books and came out with this list of 10 hobbies which can be even pursued indoor. Anyone, somebody who is new and never tried in the past, they can start painting of the childhood. They can start somebody loving food or cooking in the kitchen, even playing music. All this can be done, even gardening and then maintaining aquarium. So these are the hobbies which will give all the benefits of pursuing hobby. Which hobby is like for some particular lock, you need to have specific key. So it depends on your personality, your aptitude, your strengths and weaknesses, your liking for outdoor or staying home. So it's like knowing essence in your aptitude and having developed that attitude, just go ahead with the hobby. So I can at the most say that once again in life, do fall in love, not necessarily with a person, not with your profession, but with an idea, a dream, and a passion. And add one more degree of DCH. I'm pediatrician not telling you about diploma in childhood, but this says develop and cultivate hobby, at least one at any age. For the very simple reason, for your own self, as a healthy time pass for young people to keep away from the lifestyle issues, and then timely health pass for, sorry, I'm other way, it's timely health pass for youngers and healthy time pass for the retired and elderly people. Many people, they try to equate wrongly this success with happiness, but then it's not true. Same way, money cannot buy happiness. Some people are so poor, all they have is only money. So, I mean, we need to earn, that's our main livelihood. We are all doctors, we are doing practice, so we are learning lifelong. But unless we create that strong desire or yearn to pursue that happiness in our life, it cannot be achieved. So at this moment, I remember this particular quote of our Pula Deshpande. Everybody must be knowing that basically he says, साहित्य, चित्र, संगीत, नाट्य, शिल्प यातल्या एखाद्या तरी कलेशी मैत्री जमवा. पोटा पाण्या उद्योग तुम्हाला जगवेल, पण कलेशी जमलेली मैत्री तुम्ही का जगायचं हे सांगून जाईल. And in my house there's another plaque which says happiness is not a destination, it is a way of life. And if we look at this, we can just perceive that how interestingly this happy is, looks phenotypically similar to hobby. So as you're talking about hobby, which gives us joy, bliss, and happiness, if you're convinced, don't wait for even tomorrow's sunrise also. Don't let time melt like ice, and don't let time run through your hands like sand. Before that, go and grab that 25th hour. It may not add years to life, but it definitely adds life to the years. And especially if somebody is entrapped in this lockdown or slow time, or somebody running so kind of a fast life and then endless hours in practice, it will rescue as a remedial hour. Friends, this is not important, is not a trick lock, chained in, and Namita is dangling that key, but then something I'm holding in my hand. This puzzle has to be solved, not with this key. But for that, one need to have this kind of a key of the keyboard of a particular laptop. Just with the simple pressing on that, it will rescue you all. I know we have been quite late, so we bring this our talk But before I let you go, just let me tell you that, or rather wish you that you find your 25th hour, which will give you time to do or pursue things what you always wanted to do in the life. I also pray that you find this such type of team which will open the avenues in your life which will give you energy and excitement, money and meaning to the life, and purpose and joy, bliss, and happiness. And then last word of caution that Corona is there. It's not that it has vanished from the earth. We have learned to coexist, but we must not allow to come inside the house like that, go between this husband and wife. So friends, thank you very much for sparing your precious hour and more. For us sharing this or talking to you all was nothing less than that joy and happiness of our 25th hour. Thank you.
Thank you very